know me as a person who says what he thinks, and I don't hide the fact that I wasn't a fan of our last president's character issues. And I'm also no fan. Aren't you embarrassed?
No, Mitt. No, they aren't embarrassed. And maybe that's a problem. Look, I'd be lying if I said that the sound of Mitt Romney getting booed didn't make every part of me fully erect. A boing. But it's pretty darn shocking that after being beaten by the human equivalent of a boiled lump of sawdust, the GOP has decided to double down on Donald the loser President Trump. To put this into perspective, the Republican Party has discussed rebranding after every major defeat in the past, something they absolutely don't appear to be doing this time, opting instead to just keep doubling down on the exhausting treason guy and culture war bullshit. Some of the reasons speculated have to do with the lack of solid new leadership in the party or the closeness of the 2020 election. But it wasn't that close. Heck, out of the last 10 elections, it was only the 5th closest. And it really just seems like the main reason the GOP hasn't rebranded might have to do with the fact that they simply have nothing to rebrand to, and really no other popular GOP figure besides Donald Loser Trump, who is so darn popular that he had to shut down his blog after less than a month because of the lack of interest. A blog he started because, if you recall, he was banned from social media because, if you recall, he tried to do a lazy coup on America. If you recall that. And yet, this is still the only thing the GOP has to offer. Donald Trump 2.0. This time, he's older and even less popular. Despite its terrifying popularity at the time, pretty much every QAnon candidate lost in 2020, thank goodness. And of the several that did win, neither of them are very popular. One of them literally just learned about the Holocaust. So, better late than etc. and so forth. Also, hilariously, they're still more popular than Liz Cheney and other establishment Republicans, the likes of which are less popular than even Matt Gaetz, a man who can't even get a job at Newsmax. Good old Bartholomew Greenshart Gaetz didn't look up his full real name, but you know him as the guy currently being investigated for sex trafficking a minor, and who is very unpopular in general, to the point that he reportedly couldn't get a preemptive pardon from the loser president he sucked up to for several years. Dude went after Tiffany to get to the big man. And yet, he's somehow still pretty popular in his district. And assuming he hasn't already been arrested before this video comes out, little Greenshart McGriddle is reportedly looking into a presidential run. You know, pending the thing where he Venmo'd a confessed sex trafficker the exact same amount the sex trafficker paid a teenager for sex, and now that sex trafficker, who was close friends with Gaetz and was seen on camera making fake IDs with Gaetz, has agreed to cooperate with the feds, and his lawyer has specifically said that what he has to say will target Gaetz, so pending all of that, 2024 Gaetz! Yeah! Sex crime teeth demon for prez, folks! You know, unless the other old sex crime guy decides to run again instead. Meanwhile, Democrats are currently seeing a boost in their numbers that I'm sure they won't squander. Ha 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 ha! And Trump's popularity is now falling within his party. Again, his blog shut down after a month. And besides, we all know the real magic is when he vlogs.
Rick Perry, watch him. He's a comer.
1 in 5 young GOP voters ended up supporting Joe Biden in the last election, and there's a general push in Republican youths to move past Trump, despite him winning more votes in 2020 than in 2016. In other words, while the Trump and QAnon GOP are very unpopular and brimming with scandals and not the future that young Republicans want, they are still more popular than less Trump-centric establishment groups of conservatives. Like Rudy Giuliani just got raided by the FBI. And before that, his last big relevancy was holding a press conference in front of the Four Seasons Hotel and nothing else with a similar name. And yet, he's still more popular in polls than Mitch McConnell. And that's not unbelievable, because Mitch McConnell is profoundly terrible. It almost makes you feel bad for anyone who genuinely believes in small government or limited regulation, and this is the party they have to sift through. It's like if you thought healthcare should be a right, but you had to deal with Democrats. Can you imagine? And I guess that brings us back to Trump, who, while he might be losing his grasp on the party, is still the only hope they have. Having successfully broken the party, it would be very easy for Trump to once again take control, despite being such a sad loser. And I guess we should talk about that, and maybe explore what, if anything, the GOP and conservatives actually believe in. Because, as others have noted, it sure seems like they've completely lost any actual values beyond reactionary Obama-era tan suit outrage and tweeting about the word woke. Like, seriously, what do they believe in? What bills or actions have they spearheaded lately? What do they want to do to, help America? Because I'm pretty sure that's what political parties are supposed to claim to be doing, right? So if they're not gonna do it, I guess we should perform our own little autopsy on the Republican Party. Not because they're dead, but because they should be? We're all thinking it, but it seems like Trump was just bringing the GOP to their logical conclusion, and now there's just absolutely nothing they have to offer, and perhaps need to dissolve into some kind of goo, maybe a series of delicious patties, tech bro libertarians. Yeah, it'll be that one. It's a real bummer. Hey, thanks for watching that clip. Here's the evergreen end plate to ask you to like and subscribe. It's any day of the year where you are.